What's going on, everyone? In this video, we're going to cover exactly how to pretty much materialize your goal in a way that you can clearly see what you want and how to work backwards from the goal. There's a great quote that says, if you don't have a target to hit, you will never hit it. And this is something that I go through with a lot of clients. We're working together that they tell me, Javi, I really want to make, let's say, 30K per month, 50K per month, 80K per month, whatever the number is, right? And I always ask them why. Why do you want to make 30K per month, 50K per month? And they say, well, because I want to, I just want to make more. Okay, but why do you want to make more? Like, what is the reasoning behind it? We all want to make more money, but is there a reason? Okay, and the more clear you are about that reason, the more you can visualize why you want to achieve that goal. Usually, the faster it materializes. Now, you can say, hey, this is some, woohoo, woohoo, manifestation type of deal, which, like, I believe that if you have a goal and you're very, like, obsessed about the goal, it comes up, it kind of comes true. And I personally experienced this before I had any success. Just a quick little story before we jump into it. I used to write down on a journal everything I ever, like, things that I have achieved now. I wrote it down in a past journal, and it's crazy, like, how, and this is something that I wrote like almost 5 years ago. Like, I wrote exactly what car that I wanted, the size of my house, the reason why. So I got very, very detailed on exactly what I want in my life. And next thing you know, 4 years later, I achieved it, right? So I kind of believe it in a way, that manifestation, but it's not like, okay, let me write the things that I want and sit down and hopefully it all comes to true. No, it's like, write it down, materialize it, and work towards that goal nonstop, and then eventually you'll achieve it. Okay, so let's jump right into it, because I really want to kind of describe this, and I need you to do this yourself, right? So, because I can't do this for you. So I need to sit down whenever you can. Give it about an hour or two of just sitting down and materializing your goal and the reason why that goal is. Okay. So there's just three great books that really talk a lot about this. It's called The Science of Getting Rich, Think and Grow Rich, and The Power of the Subconscious Mind. Now, they all say the similar thing. Essentially, is that if you can see it, you can believe it, and you can speak it, you will achieve it, right? So that's another great quote that Conor McGregor said years ago. He's like, hey, if you can see it, and you have the courage to speak it, you will achieve it, right? So this is kind of like the same thing as that. Like, you need to have first you need to see it, then you got to start working towards it, okay? So these three books really talk about that. If you haven't read these three books, I just highly recommend, like, Think and Grow Rich is the classic. If you haven't read it yet, then holy crap. But these two are less well known. But I recommend you reading one of the two. But essentially, like I said, they all just talk about the subject I'm talking about. Okay. Now, the main thing is that I want you to know is, what is the cost of your dream life? How much is that dream life of yours going to cost you, right? And again, the more you can understand about this, the better it's going to materialize, because you can work backwards from the goal. It's called inverted thinking, okay? So what does your dream life cost, okay? And by when do you want to have that life, okay? So this is a great book called The Science of Scaling, which, if you haven't read it, I'm highly recommending, right? That it talks about Parkinson's law. And Parkinson's law is the adage that work expands to fill in the time available for its completion, meaning tasks take longer if you give it more time due to procrastination and adding unnecessary complexity, even if it could be done much faster. So essentially, us as human, we tend to give some certain time frames in certain things, and just because of Parkinson's law, the time that we give is how long we're going to take to do it, right? So giving yourself a time frame almost rushes you to get those goals done as soon as possible, right? So that's why I was saying, like, you also not only see the cost of the life that you want, but also know by when do you want that life to happen, okay? And that kind of pushes you to make that dream a reality. And I'm gonna explain a little bit further on, like, you also got to increase your why, because it increases the urgency, okay? So this all kind of relates with each other, all right? So by when, and for me, I put in the next 3 years, I want to achieve this, okay? Now, here's technically one of the first things that I want. I want a bigger house, because multiple reasons. But one, I want to have a water behind my house. So those houses, I live here in Miami, those houses could get pretty expensive, up to $5 to $8 million, right? So I need to, essentially buy a bigger house. The house that I'm living right now is around 1.8 million. So I need essentially to have almost a little bit over double the house that I have right now, right? So I want a house with water, My wife wants a bigger closet, and also I want a backyard that has a sunken pool area because I like to hang out with my friends, tell some stories, smoke some cigars, eat, talk some shit. I recently had a mastermind that I rented a kind of house that it was huge, and it had a sunken area, and we were all sitting by the fire, smoking, talking shit. It was pretty cool. I'm like, damn, I want this in my house. Like my house right now is pretty big and it's very very nice, the backyard as well, but it doesn't have a sick ass sunken area like this. Another thing that I want in my house is like an outside kitchen. So I just have a normal barbecue, which is cool, but I I I hang out a lot with my family and friends, right? They're almost every day they're in my house, right? So it would be cool for us to cook, eat outside, enjoying the weather, hanging out, instead of just being in the house all day. Since I already work all day in my house, you get me? Like my work, it's all in the house. So I like to be outside as much as possible because I'm always looking at this damn computer. So like any chance I get not to look at my monitor and be outside, I take it. So two things. So multiple reasons why I want a bigger house. So one, I want water, I want a sunken area, and I want a full outside kitchen where we can even cook pizza. If you don't know, my wife is Italian and she knows how to cook pizza. So if I could have one of those pizza oven, I'm gonna eat fire pizza all day. You get me? So that's one of the reasons. Another reason why I want water in my backyard is because I want a damn yacht. I want a boat, right? And one of the reasons, if you're not noticing that, is there's why I want this thing. There's this great book called Start with the Why. So essentially, what's the square footage and why? How many rooms and why? How many bathrooms and why? Pool or no pool and why? Big backyard and why? By the ocean or the city and why? So essentially, is the stronger the why, the bigger the why, the more believable the why is, the more urgency you will have to achieve that goal. This is another great book. If you haven't read Start with the Why by Simon Sinek, I highly recommend it. But essentially, there's a reason why I want all these things. Now, the reason why you're like, hey, Ivy, why the fuck do you want a yacht? You get me? These shits are a money pit, which I understand. Everybody I talk to, that owns a big boat, they're like, this stuff is a money pit, but they look like they're enjoying life, right? Now, why do I want it? Okay, so I want a backyard where I could park my yacht, of course. But why is because, guys, if you don't know my background, I came from Cuba on a boat that looked like kind of like this. It was probably even smaller than this. So I came from an island called Cuba, right? Which is essentially around like 95 miles away from Miami, which we're not too far. But I left from this beautiful island, which is destroyed because of communism, unfortunately. Goddamn communism. But that's one of the reasons why we left Cuba because dude, I had like no shoes growing up type of deal. Like I was going barefoot. There's no food over there. There's no like even just normal amenities like toothpaste and toilet paper. All those things are gone in Cuba. There's none of that. There's like no internet. It just Cuba is just fucked, right? So I was very fortunate that my dad was a very brave man essentially, and he was had balls of steel to take his family and say we're getting the f out of here and put us on a little boat, and made it. We took us like 3 days or 4 nights or something like that. But we made it to Miami. We were lost for a little bit, but by the grace of God, somehow we found our way. It was a pretty bad experience. I was hungry. I was super thirsty. It was rough, but we made it here. And actually, the first thing I saw when I got to the Keys, I landed somewhere here with the Florida Keys. I landed in one of the small islands. The first thing I saw was like Mercedes, yachts, boats, Rolls Royce. I literally saw. I went to a private island that only rich people there lived there, and I just landed to happen their beach, and then whatever. I don't want to go back to the full story, but that's one of the main reasons why I want a yacht. I know it might sound stupid, but I want a yacht because I came in a piece of shit like this. Like this is where I came into both. So I will feel like my family will be very proud of me, and I'll be very proud if I could pull up on a fucking 80-foot yacht and be like, I came in a 8-foot boat. Now I'm in an 80-foot boat. With my family and friends, hanging out, enjoying life. So that's one of the reasons why I personally want these things, right? And again, like the stronger the why, the more materialized it becomes. Another reason why I have a big house is because all my family parties, all the birthdays, all the holiday parties, all the events is always in my house. So I would like a house that's why I have in this house right now we have 5 rooms because 2 is offices, one for me for my wife. Then we have, of course, my bedroom. Then my brother lives with me, so that's another bedroom. And then I have another guest room that my wife's family comes from Italy, like 3 months of the year. Sometimes they stay there. Sometimes friends stay over. Sometimes my mom stay over. Some family members. So if I could have another guest room, so maybe 6 bedrooms, so I could have multiple people stay over my house in their guest rooms, that'll be awesome. So that's why I want a bigger house. Now, this type of house costs around $5 million, right? So I've been doing a lot of research. It's around $5 million, which is going to be at least a 15 to 20% down, and at least the mortgage is going to be $26,000 a month. Okay, so this stuff that, like, I'm already okay, I need to reach a certain level of income so I could comfortably, because I could already technically afford this, but it wouldn't be smart of me to be putting that much money into a mortgage right now. It doesn't make sense, especially the mortgage I can't really write off. That's why one of the reasons why I'm renting this house right now is because I could write off half the house because I work in the other half of the house, which is another great perk about renting that most people don't talk about. They always think that mortgages are better, but renting, there are some small benefits. And one of them is writing it off. Okay, so I want the house, right? Another thing that I would love is more cars. If you guys know me, I absolutely love cars. So I already have one of these. It's the Maybach, right? This is my wife's dream's car, so eventually I want to buy it for her. And then I used to have a Lambo, but it was not a convertible. It was just like the base model Lamborghini, which I sold because I drove another different Lambo that was better than mine. And I'm like, fuck this piece of shit. I don't even feel proud anymore of owning it. So I want something like this. I want the matte black. I want it to be a convertible. I want it to be an Evo Spider, right? So for that, it's going to be at least 5.5K per month. The Maybach will probably be paid off because I have the Maybach for a 5 years finance. I already owned it for 3 years, so another 2 years I'll probably own this car off the bat. So I should have taken all this off. And then the Rose, this is my wife's dream car. She loves convertibles and she likes being with her friends and family when she rides. And we have multiple convertibles before, but honestly, it's even though they have 4 seats, it's unbearable in the back. Like the people in the back, they have to be little small kids, and even for them, it's tight, right? So like we own like a Mercedes convertible, BMW convertibles. They just the only convertible that I know that you can comfortably fit 4 people is the Rolls, right? So that's one of the reasons why we both want it, because, like I said, we often are with family and friends, and we know we want to have them enjoy the life that we also are having. Okay, so this is already things that I want in the next 3 years. This is very materialistic, but hey, I'm just giving you something that to understand what is my kind of some of my goals, and this is just from like lifestyle point of view, right? How I want my life to be in the next 3 years. The only thing I didn't put here is kids, right? I mean, I didn't want to get too personal, but that's the only thing that is missing here. I would definitely would like to have the kids some in the next 3 years, but there's just some things to understand of one of some of my wants, right? Another thing that I do is I like to give gifts to people. So these 2 cars I already gift, right? So this I give this car to my grandma. So quick story, she one day she came to my house in her broken car, and her car broke down, and she started crying because people were she was like in a red light. Her car didn't turn back on. Something happened, and then people were honking and honking and honking, and she started like, tearing up. And we had to go pick her up, whatever. We had to tow the car. A lot of bullshit. The car, was all fucked up. And I'm like, damn, why is my grandma having this such? It was like a Nissan Rogue from like I don't know what year, but it was all fucked up. So what I did the next day, I went and bought her a Volkswagen Tiguan. And she loves it, like, and that's probably one of the happiest moments of my life, was giving my grandma a car. So that was like a third, no, it was a $28,000 car. I forgot the exact number, but I give it to her, and that I would love to do that again. So I did do it again. I gifted my mom's this is her dream car. It was a Denali, because she's also kind of like me when she likes to have people with her. So like she has a 7-seater, fully comfortable. Out of all the cars I've driven, that the back row is comfortable is the Denali. You can literally, me myself. Well, I'm not that tall. I'm like 5'9", something like that. But I could be in the back, fully comfortable, like chilling. iPhone charger right next to me, cup holder right next to me, and we often drive to the Keys, and we usually take either the Maybach and this car, and we go like 10 people, super super comfortable. Okay, but something I would like to do in the future is give one of my, so a family member that they literally drive the worst cars I ever seen in my life. And she's actually my father's sister, and I would love to give her like a Benz, because that's like it'll be her dream for her, right? Like this, she works for McDonald's, so she can't really afford these things. But I would love to buy her the car for her, and boom, she's driving in her dream car, which she probably never gonna buy this because she works at McDonald's. She's the manager of a McDonald's like next to my house, and she would never buy a Mercedes. But I would love to make money where I could just spend 50 grand on her and not even feel it. So that's something I want to do for her. Another thing is one of my cousins that she just recently came from Cuba. She's working on a Publix as well. She has a really beat up car. It's like, another 10,000 miles and the wheels will fall off. So I would love for her to give her a Tiguan. Like this is a newer model, so it's like 32K. But let's say in a year or two, I would love to just buy her this for her, because this she probably will never buy a new car. So I want to do that for her. I want to just buy her this for her and be like, I love you, cousin. Here's the car that you can run for the next 10, 15 years and run it to the ground. And she doesn't have no mechanical issue that she's currently having with her car. There's so many times that she's literally gotten like almost stranded, and somebody has to come jump a car so she could go to work, which is it's unfortunate. She doesn't have the means right now to buy even a used car, because I mean, whatever. But yeah, another thing is, I would love to give my brother his two dream cars. So I had a car just like this, a Supra. I had a Supra for like maybe 2 3 years, and my brother loved this car. It was a car that like if he was outside, he would just take it. He would take it to work. Like he would just like love driving this car. So I did sell it because it was very small for me, and I have too many fucking cars. I'm like, I rarely drive this, so I fucking sold it. But I shouldn't have. I should have just gifted it to my brother. So in the future, I'll probably just buy another Supra and give to him. And then maybe more and more in the future, I'll give him a Porsche GT3 that he really loves his car. But this is like a $300,000-$400,000 car, so he's gonna have to wait a little bit longer. But I would love to buy this car for them. So this is already just a very expensive gift that I would love to one day achieve. So I'm working towards that. So these are things that, like I said, that I'm trying to work towards in the next 3 years, that are kind of materialistic, that I need a lot of capital to do so, right? So for the down payments, right, I'm gonna need at least, so for the house, it's gonna be 750. For the boat, it's gonna be another 50. For the Lambo, it's gonna be 28. For the Rolls, it's gonna be 25. So that's already $853,000 I need just in down payments, right? It's not even including the monthlies, right? So I need a little bit under $1 million to achieve this in cash. Okay. Another thing is the monthly payments. Okay. So in total, that's gonna be $43,000 a month. Now I could technically afford this right now. There's only like about 18K more that I'm spending right now per month, which is not too much. But I like to put money away from taxes. I like to put my money into investments. So for me, it doesn't make sense. I like to be my expenses around 30% of my income, right? That's why I feel comfortable. So because I could put 30% into investment, I could put 30% into taxes, and I could blow 10% and not care, right? So that's kind of like my mindset about it. So even here, I'm just putting 20% in savings, but I would love to have at least $2 million in the S&P 500. I would love to have at least $1 million plus in different index funds. I would like to have at least 5 or 6 Bitcoins, right? So that would be like around 500K. In order for me to do that, I need to start investing at least 30 to 40K in monthly, right? Or like monthly investing at least 30 or 40, 50K. Okay. In order for me to do that, I need to make way more, because right now I could technically do half of that, right? And I'm kind of doing it already. But if I want to get to the goal of having at least more than $4 million in investments, right? I need to just make more and invest more. Simple. Okay. So for me, in order to do this, and this, by the way, it's a great book called Profit First. It kind of describes how do you split your profit. That's where I got the formula of like 30% of bills, 30% I'll put in tax, even though I don't pay 30% taxes, but just to be safe, 30% for taxes, and then 30% invested. And then the last 10% that I have, I get to blow it in fucking $40,000 watches and whatever bullshit travels or whatever. Like I like to eat as much as possible. I like to eat the finest food that Miami has to offer. It gets pretty pricey. Some restaurants are like $2,000 just for like an hour of dinner. So like that 10% is for me to just blow out, right? So there's a great book called Profit First that it says you need to have almost like a formula to split up your money. Okay, so that's kind of why I have the 30-30-10. Okay, so in order for me to do this comfortably, I need to be making at least over 200K per month in profit. Like this is what I'm paying myself. For me to do this comfortably, that I don't feel like, fuck, I'm blowing money on all these cars, all these boats, all these houses, all these presents, all this traveling. And if this 1/4 of my income, I'm chilling. I don't give a fuck. I mean, honestly, if it's 1/3, I'm still chilling. You get me? So that's where I want to be. In order for me to do 200K profit every single month, I need to be doing at least 320K per month and 60 at a 65% profit margin. If that's the case, then I'm taking home at least 200 grand. Okay. In order for me to do 320K per month, I need to close 24 clients, right? That's 6 clients a week. That's about 18, that's about $72,000 a month in ads, around 18K per week in ad spend, and around 40K in team, right? This is kind of what the team will look like at that level. Now, another thing that I want to say is that, okay, since you want to acquire at least 24 clients a month, how much is that going to cost me? Okay, so on average, it's going to be around 18K per month. That's going to be at least $2,300 a day on ads, okay? And I'm gonna run ads through Meta. I'm gonna send them through a landing page. They're gonna have an application. They're gonna have a thank you page, and then they're gonna go into our Zoom call. That's kind of how the funnel is gonna be, okay? So that's how I'm gonna get to at least $300,000 in revenue and profiting at least 200K, all right? So what I'm showing you here, guys, is me working backwards from the goal. This is what I want you to do. Now, you don't have to go this extreme. Like if you're making less than 10K per month, okay, what is a 50K per month lifestyle look like? And this is what I want you to do. I want you to do this either on Canva or on Lucid or whatever platform if you feel comfortable, and do something like this and go into either great detail, because there's a lot of things here that I missed. I missed me having kids. I missed, buying different watches. I missed all the places I want to travel. And then like this year, I'm going to travel a lot. I'm going to go to like Bora Bora. I'm going to go to Japan. I'm going to go to Africa. I'm going to go to Greece. I'm going to go to Rome, because I've gone to Italy multiple times but never did Rome. I want to go back to Switzerland because I loved it. There's a few places that I want to travel this world, and I'm making it happen. And I didn't even put that here, right? Here should have like a whole travel section. If that's the case for you, I highly recommend it, because I'm only showing you like, half of the things I want to show you. Like, I don't really want to show you everything, like my whole 23-year game plan, because, it's none of your business. No, I'm just kidding. But I don't want to show you everything, but I have a more like detailed plan of this, like of the kids, how many kids I want. I even put their names. What is going to be their names? Do I want a boy or girl first? I literally got into very good detail, right? On these cars too, like I put the color that I wanted. Like, be extremely detailed, extremely detailed, and always like do the why stuff. Like, this is very important, because like I said, if you understand your why, you have way more urgency, because when the why is strong enough, you almost have this urge to make it happen. It's like you want to just like, aggressively just break through it, because you're like, I need this fucking thing, right? And that's why you gotta be like, okay, what is the square footage and why? Like, the reason why I want a 6,000 square foot house, or I mean a house, or land, or like half an acre of land, is because, like I said, I have a very big family. Sometimes I should put a picture of us, but like in my pool, I have like one of the biggest pool that I've seen. Is fucking huge, and it fits like 50 people in there. And when we threw family parties, guess how many people are in my family? They're like 50 to 60, and a bunch of little kids running around. There's like 15 little kids running around, and I fucking love that. That's why I have a basketball court, I have a soccer court, I have a pickleball court, and I just see a bunch of people just playing around, throwing the ball. You get me? So I'm like, I need a bigger space. That's one of the reasons why I want this where I have it, this barbecue area, because my barbecue area sucks right now. It doesn't have good seating. It's not structured like this, like all pretty, right? So like for me, by just living in this current house, I'm like, damn, no, I need to upgrade. I need a proper backyard kitchen. I mean, this table is not big enough. I need a 3 times the size of this table if I could eat food, even maybe half of my family. You get me? So there's things that I've been experienced in this current house, which I love. Is beautiful, is huge. One of the problems that I had in my old house is when my family came to my house, there was not enough parking, right? Because it's like 50 fucking people, and it's probably like 15 cars, or 12 cars to all those people to come to my house, right? So I wanted a house big enough that it could fit all those cars. And guess what I did? Now this house is fucking huge. The front lawn, I could literally fit 15 cars, and then also the side of the house, you can fit another 10 cars if I wanted to. So these are things that you start wanting as you start experiencing different ways of living, right? So for me, that's why I want these things, because I already have a certain thing in mind. I have a certain goal in mind. I have a certain way I want to live my life in mind. I have certain dreams. I have certain things that I want to share with my family, right? And those are strong why for me. Like, the reason why I wanted to be successful is so I could give my family and friends a better life that they otherwise wouldn't have experienced. Because I'm technically the only entrepreneur in my family. Is me. Everybody in my family is working a normal job that they fucking loathe. They're fucking they don't really like, right? So like I'm the only person that could inspire them. I'm the only person that could give them beautiful experiences. Like I said this multiple times. I have literally not taken first class tickets and split that money like in 4 or 5 different tickets so I could take some family and friends with me when I'm traveling. Like that's how where I find my most fulfilled. Like when I found purpose, when I could do these things, when I could or like a new cousin of mine came from Cuba. I gave her like $2,000 cash for she could buy anything. She just moved out to her own little apartment because she was living with her mom for about a year. She just moved out. I gave her $1,000 cash. I bought her a bed, a fridge, and I think something else. So I spent a couple grand on her. You get me? And if I wasn't able to do that, she wouldn't be able to do that. She wouldn't move into an empty house, and slowly people will have to put like $10 here, $100 here, and pitch money together so they could buy her those things. Because me and my family are very, very tight. Like some people always tell me, it's like, yo, you are very lucky because my family is not as close as your family. So when somebody's in trouble in my family, we all put our money together and we try to make it happen. We're very close, okay? And that's something that I treasure tremendously. That's something that I know not a lot of people have. So like I try my best to help as much as possible in my family because for me, family and friends is everything. It's the main reason why I'm here. Like it's the times that I'm most happier when I'm hanging out with them, when we're traveling. I mean, actually, I have a lot of fun working. To be honest, I love the work that I do, and it's very exciting for me. But after work, what do? I chill with my friends and family, and we get to hang out. So that's the reason why I want these things because I know I could give my family and friends a way better experience. I know I could give them things that they would normally get, like one of the reasons the first time I bought the Lambo was like I bought it because I love cars, I love engines, like I got obsessed with them. And but dude, the faces of my family when I showed up in that car, even the Maybach, when I first showed up in the Maybach, people were like, "What the fuck is this?" So like when I show up with this one that is convertible, or when I show up with the Rose, and I pull up to my aunt's house into her McDonald's, and she's gonna be like, "What the fuck is happening?" And then she's gonna be super happy. She's gonna be super excited for me. And these are the things that I want to share with my family and friends. My friends too. I have friends that they're like, "Holy fucking Christ! How do you own this? How do you have this house? How do you able to travel so much? How are you able to have like over 100 grand or actually under 100 grand in watches and stuff like that? You get me? They're just like, fuck, I'm so proud of you. You inspire me, and I want to keep doing that. So that's why I have a very strong why. I want to make the business scalable so I could give my family and friends better experiences so they could enjoy their life better, right? I want to give better people better gift. I want to help more people, right? My brother wants to start a different businesses. Like he needs about like 11 grand or 12 grand to start the business. Guess what? I'm gonna give him the money. I'm like, hey, don't worry about paying me back. Here's the money. Whatever happens, happen, brother. I hope you build what you want to build. You get me? And I like doing these things. Like I don't mind me spending 70% of the money which I know is very stupid, right? If someone's in the financial industry right now, I'd be like, Javi, what the fuck are you talking about? But I just personally don't care. I don't care me spending most of my money into my family and friends so they could experience a better life because we come from absolutely nothing. Like I was the first family to come to America was me. And then the last 20 years we've been here, we've been bringing people slowly in from Cuba. And so we come from nothing, right? So for me, it's like almost like a mission of mine that saying we had to run away from our country, our country, because it had nothing. There was no chance of us to be anybody there. And my dad pretty much had to like do the biggest bet that he has done in his life, and it paid off. It was to bring his kids over here so they could have a better life. So my mission is to make sure that his dream is fulfilled as much as possible, that I will have a better life because he sacrificed enough for us to get us here. So my I'm like, I'm gonna do this because my father wanted me to do. My father wanted me to have a better life, better than he did, which I already experienced it, better than he did when he was a child. And I want to do that for my kids' kids, and my family's kids, all of that. So in order for me to do that, I need to, be more business minded, keep growing the business, be more profitable, grow it, on a predictable and scalable way, because I really want to make these things happen. You get me? And some of these things, like I said, they're kind of materialistic, but it's only materialistic because it's part of the best way that I could describe some of these things. But essentially, It doesn't have to be always materialistic with you guys. It's whatever you want. If you want it to be for other reasons, it doesn't be always be materialistic. It could be just travel. It could be just you helping out your family, helping out with different things. It's whatever you want to do, okay? But I just wanted to show you a little bit of, oops, sorry about that. I just wanted to show you kind of like what is my vision for the next 3 years and how I'm planning to achieve that. And I want you to really do this yourself so you can materialize your wants, your goals, to visually see how much your ideal life is going to cost you, right? That's why I put right here, how much is your, whoops, how much or what's the cost of your dream life, okay? And there's something when I talk to a lot of our clients, they don't really understand, they don't really have it, like it's kind of like foggy to them, but you need to materialize it and make it actual as concrete as possible, because once you can see it, once you can believe it, and you have the courage to speak it, it will come true.